Okay. So, I had this accident in Vrindavan, and...
Were you living at the time?
Yeah, I was living in Vrindavan. Oh, I wanted to tell you about that, so I forgot actually. Thank you for reminding me. So, apart from going on all Gurudev's tours, I really wanted to live in Vrindavan, and because I thought that there were some times when Gurudev was in Vrindavan between tours. I would go for Kartik, Brajmandal Parikrama, go for Navadvip Dham Parikrama, time of Gaurapanim. But after Gurudev would go for maybe Gaurapanim and different festivals in Braj. And then I thought I think he'd always be there for Julan Yatra and like that. So I thought I'm missing out on some of these festivals that were good in Vrindavan. Wouldn't it be nice to live in Vrindavan, So in 1998, I was doing Vrindavan Parikrama with one senior devotee called Savita Didi, and there was a few of us, and she was walking very fast, and we were trying to keep up, and all the time I was thinking, oh, if only I could live in Vrindavan, if only I could live in Vrindavan. And I was really praying to live in Vrindavan. So then when I got back, and I immediately went to see Gurudev in Shri Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Math there in Vrindavan. He was in his room giving darshan, and then I went and sat right in front of him. And then he said, looked at me like, what is it you want, and then I said, Gurudev, can I live in Vrindavan? And then he became very grave, like he was thinking. And then he said, well, what about your husband? And then I said, well, he won't mind. And then he said, okay. No. And then he said, okay, well, how will you maintain yourself? And then I said, well, I think my husband will help. And then he said, okay. He said, you may live in Vrindavan forever. Like this, And I was so happy, and I ran out of that room, and I was telling all the devotees, Gurudev said I could live in Vrindavan, and the Indian brahmacharis, at that time, there was Tirthamaji, was Subhananda brahmachari, I knew them all, and they were like, what, it was, for an Indian lady to just I'm going to live in Vrindavan and goodbye to the husband. And that was not unheard of, So they were like, oh really, So then anyway, so I told my husband, I said, I want to live in Vrindavan, Gurudev. I asked Gurudev bless me. He said, okay, he was very easygoing, So then he supported me to live in Vrindavan. And he continued to live in England. So it was like we took Vanapras, more or less. I married 95, 98, I was already living in Vrindavan, like Vanapras. And then, I was living in Vrindavan, and he still continued buying my tickets to travel around the world with Gurudev. He would come on some of the European tours, and maybe to Australia sometimes. But yeah, I would go many places around the world with Gurudev, so I was very fortunate. So then I was saying before that Gurudev physically departed in 2010, and that was very tough for all the devotees. I was there, he was in Jagannath Puri at the time he departed, and it was kind of expected but unexpected, because he was in Govardhan during Kartik in 2010, and he was, going through his Sikh Leela, and we were thinking that he would leave during that time, because he said he wanted to leave on the same day as his dear god brother Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Goswami Maharaj, which was during Kartik. So everyone was really thinking, oh, anytime Gurudev can leave, and especially on that day, everyone was like afraid, you know, they were doing kirtan all night, but Gurudev didn't leave. So we were all like relieved and, you know, happy he was still with us. But then he was there in Govardhan, and then they took Gurudev to Puri, Jagannath Puri. He was there. We had a temple there, and it came to you see, the day that Srila Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj disappeared, the same day Srila Vaman Goswami disappeared, I think. And he said he wanted to leave on that day, but then it came the day of Srila Vaman Goswami Maharaj's appearance. And it was that day when he departed, and at that time we were planning to go for Gurudev's Vyasa Puja, which was coming soon. But I was in Delhi, there was a book fair, and some devotees would go every year for this book fair to have a stall and have Gurudev's books and Prabhupada's books and sell them and like that. So, yeah, then during that period in the Delhi mat, Raman Bihari Gaudiya mat, knock on the door at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3:30 in the morning, and, you know, the news came that Gurudev had departed. So that was like, you know, really big shock in one sense, that it was at that time, because we were hoping like Gurudev would get better and like this. So then there was a big, you know, the news spread everywhere, and devotees were thinking, oh, then Samadhi ceremony that was going to be in Navadvip. So I was there in Delhi trying to arrange for devotees tickets to go from Delhi to Calcutta for the Samadhi ceremony. So yeah, anyway, so I was there for his Samadhi ceremony. I wasn't there in Puri when he physically departed, but that was amazing. And then, you know, I only thought to continue my service of traveling and preaching, you know, to follow his order. So I did continue until 2015, when I had this big accident in Vrindavan during like beginning Kartik. I was crossing the Mathura road. It's a very busy junction, and then I was looking both ways, but the truck came from behind. So then, knocked down. Truck started going over my body. I thought, okay, anytime I could leave my body now. But I was okay, if that's what Radharani wants, if that's what Kṛṣṇa wants, fine. So then next thing, I was dragged out from under the truck and ended up in hospital in Agra, and then, you know, apart from so many broken bones in my back, and I got gas gangrene and cellulitis, and ended up in Delhi and then England, because they couldn't really cure that in even Delhi hospital. So then I ended up in hospital about 4.5 months, and then I you know, was in recovery for some time, and big operation, colostomy operation, big reconstruction, my buttocks, and took muscle and vein out of my right leg. Anyway, so then I thought, you know, what to do, because I wanted to continue my service, but in that condition it was very difficult. So then I was waiting for this reverse colostomy operation, and that took a few years because National Health Service in England is very slow. It's on the waiting list. They kept cancelling the operations, and so in the end I did get the operation, and I was so relieved, and then I was still traveling like to Vrindavan for Kartik, to Navadvip for Navadvip Dham Parikrama, and to New Braj Festival those few years, but I couldn't do much traveling and preaching. So, but once that operation was done, took some time to recover, and then I thought, and then even though I was kind of resisting because of my health, I thought, oh, I don't know how this will go. Then I felt Gurudev really pushing me to try, again, traveling and preaching. So then I did. I had all my tickets booked for one tour in, I think it was 2021. Was it 2020 when the COVID started?
19, 20, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it was the year of COVID, and it was like shut down. That's what they call it, lockdown. Lockdown. And then all my tickets got cancelled, and I thought, okay, what to do. Then the following year it opened up, and then I decided to try again, and then I did. So 2000, maybe from 2021 onwards till now, I've been again traveling, preaching on Gurudev's order. So yeah, and I feel that's really what Gurudev wants, and I want to please him in that way. So yeah, and it actually, for me, it's very, very nice to go and meet all the devotees in the different countries. I feel like Gurudev's sending me so that I can get all the devotees association all over the world. It's for me, it's very nice. And if I can share something that I heard from Gurudev all those years, then that's nice for me and nice for the devotees, hopefully. So yeah, I think devotees appreciate that, and yeah. So I think.
Yeah, it seems like a natural sequence of your life, because from what you've said, you've always been traveling anyway.
Yeah.
So natural for you to keep traveling, preaching,
yeah.
Krishna consciousness.
Yeah. It's what I love to do, and yeah, I live in Vrindavan like 6 months of the year nowadays, and I travel and preach for 6 months. So yeah, and devotees are always very kind and very supportive, and it's very, everything always works out nicely. So yeah. I mean, it was a miracle that after such an accident that I survived, because the doctors said that 50-50 chance of survival from such an accident, and number 2, I could even walk. They said they didn't know if I would be able to walk again. So, but I'll tell you this dream I had. It was when I was in the hospital. It was Vasant Panchami, and that's a very special day. It's
the beginning of spring.
Yeah, Vasant Panchami, and it's also the day of, I think, Srila Raghunath Goswami's disappearance, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Vishnu Priya's appearance, and many disappearance days on that day. And so that morning, very early morning, like during maybe Brahma Muhurta or just before, I had this dream that I just started, in the hospital, literally I'd had started to kind of, some little movement. The physiotherapist had got me to the point where I could, from walking very slowly with a frame, it was with crutches, very slowly, very difficult for me to even take a few steps, So in the dream, I was in a room, I think that maybe like the physiotherapist or someone was there, and I said, I don't need these crutches, I'm going to walk. So in a dream, I walked, you know, and then, so when I woke up from it was such a vivid dream, you know. And so when I woke from the dream, I said to the occupational therapist who had come to see me, you know, I had this dream, I explained, and I said, now I want to try walking without the crutches. And she said, no, you can't do that. And I said, no, you know, I think it's possible. And then she said, no, I don't think it's a good idea. She said, well, can't you at least just wait till the physiotherapist comes? And then I said, no, I want to try now. And then, you know, she said, okay, all right, well, I'll stand behind you, you know, just in case. So then she was standing behind, I put down my crutches and I started to walk. And it was just pure mercy. I think mercy of all the chariots that disappeared on that day. And from then on, yeah, I could walk without crutches. So yeah, and then I, you know, I said after all those months being in hospital, I came out and I was just, you know, trying to get my strength back and like that. So, but whenever Didi would see me, Didi is a very senior disciple of Srila Vaiṣṇava Goswami Maharaj, and she took Shiksha from our Gurudev, Srila Maharaj, very elderly senior Vaishnavi. And so whenever she would see me, she would say, oh, you know, your Gurudev's miracle, because it was a miracle really. And yeah, she's departed now, but yeah, so I'm very grateful that I got this opportunity to continue traveling and preaching, even after such an accident. And yeah.
Is this where you continue, your future plans are to continue like this, traveling, like
yeah.
half of the year in Vrindavan, the rest of the year?
Yeah, it seems to have worked out like that, yeah. So, because you know, with tourist visa, you could only stay 6 months out of the whole year in Vrindavan these days. So, that's, yeah. So I think I'll finish there, but thank you for this opportunity to share about my life, but especially my meeting of Gurudev and what he gave to me. And so many teachings are there. So, yeah, his books and his lectures, which anyone can access nowadays on purebhakti.com and other places on the internet. So, yeah. Okay. Vanchakalpadrubhishta kripasindhubheva patitanam pavanabhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Gurudeva ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Rupna Guruvagga ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.